What's up?
What's going on, everybody? How are you? It is Wednesday. We are the Big Play Podcast. We're getting out a little late tonight.
Fashionably.
Or yeah, we meant to.
Yeah.
We absolutely
All by
meant
design.
to. Yeah.
Totally by design.
Our fearless editor, leader, producer is not here. Mike has stepped up, and he's doing a great job. I mean, he's panicking.
Phenomenal.
He's sweating through his sweatshirt. Granted, he is wearing 2 long-sleeve shirts indoors, so
Yeah.
that's kind of on him. But anyways,
It was
we will
nippy.
get out there. Hop in the chat room. Tell us you're here. Tell us what's up. What's going on? Give us some react from the weekend of sports. What are you looking forward to? What are you drinking? Are you drinking something? Zima? No, we will not accept that as an answer. We will not accept any college beers except Natty Ice. Thoughts?
I'll allow Zima.
Zima?
Yeah.
Citrus or regular?
OG. Regular.
Oh, yeah. With
Yeah,
a Jolly
I'll allow it.
Rancher.
The best cooler I ever had was a Zima cooler.
Nice. Love it. Love it.
All right, guys, I'm ready if you want me to go.
All right,
Sorry.
let's do it.
Born ready.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping in, guys. We are ready to go. Hello, Playmakers. What is happening? It is Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. I am your host this week, and I guess every week. I don't know why I
Yeah,
always say that.
every
This
week.
week, like someone else is going to hop in here. Seacrest. Can you imagine that? Pretty good replacement.
thought he
know.
didn't
Don't
know,
give him
Mike.
any ideas while he's on vacation. I am Big Play J. Find me on Twitter at the Big Play J. The gentleman to my right, the Sultan of student loan forgiveness. That's something your generation's big on. I've read at least.
This gets
on the
better
internet.
every week.
It
It
really
does,
does.
yeah.
Like I just like that. I think one day we're just gonna fight.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm gonna
probably-
run out eventually.
I'll probably. You ever seen that like clip of like the 2 guys in New York City? They're like just flicking each other off like directly in their face, but neither of them has the actual cojones to like do
The
something.
gumption
Right.
of those guys.
I
We'll have
think
a great
That's
slap
how I'm
fight.
gonna behave that day.
Can I
Yeah.
be special guest?
I wouldn't mess
referee?
with you with that mustache, but
We got S. Matthews, 4545. He's drinking saucy IPA ASAP.
oh
in
my
response to
man,
the
thank you very much.
Yeah, got
Before
you
I was
shot.
really interrupted, Big Play Beats are Resident Millennial. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm living it up. Not totally freaking out. Just
No, you look okay.
You know.
You got that Gardner Minshew mustache. It's keeping you cool and calm and collected.
I feel
And 1 and 2.
It exudes
As a
confidence.
starter.
I feel honored that you guys actually noticed it. You know?
Thank you.
Normally you just ignore me,
It
and
was hard not to.
Yeah.
that's
And
very
the gentleman to my left, this is Bring Your Wife to Work Day eventually.
That's right.
His better half is here. Stark County's fine. The pride of Maslin, Ohio. Big Play Blake. What's going on, brother?
Not much, gentlemen.
Yeah?
Have a good week so far?
Not too bad. Yeah.
we may have been black screen for there for a minute.
Oh, really? Are
Yeah.
we back?
We're good now.
We're
Yeah.
good now. Okay. Well, that's all right. It wouldn't be the
Blame
first
the,
time I was black
We'll-
screened.
We'll apologize in advance for the technical
Exactly.
difficulties.
So we got a great show. We got a long ways to get there in a short time. I kind of went reverse on that song, didn't I? Eastbound and down. Anyways, we're going to start the show how we always start it. We're going to find out what's fueling this week's show by Saucy Brew Works. Spoiler alert, little holiday beer. Then on Contender Pretender, we're going to dissect who is real, who is fake. Fantasy locks, we're going to give you our fantasy football locks for this upcoming week. Week 6, almost halfway done on the regular season of fantasy football. Hard to believe. Hard
It
to believe.
is. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still like trying to like hone in on my playoff team right now.
Well, you might want to do that because
Well,
you're halfway
yeah.
there.
Whoa.
Well, don't
I
even.
think Blake's living on a prayer.
There,
over
I
there.
was
think
there
he
was
is
going to be a
too.
Bon Jovi reference at
Yes.
some
Well,
point
thank
tonight
you,
with
yeah.
that mustache.
Right. Well, I'll lay you guys down on the bed of roses later. Anyways, hell no, hell yeah. You know we're going to get
yeah.
into that. And then on deck, we're going to preview what's going on this weekend. But before we get there, let's find out what is fueling this week's Big Play podcast.
Today's secret ingredient is scallop, mushroom, pizza dough, hamburger. Today's secret ingredient is
Said the night wind to the mighty beer. I'm going to be doing Christmas song references all week. This is Three Hos by Saucy Brewworks. The can actually does kind of show up on the green screen. We were kind of worried about that, to be honest with you. This is a Christmas beer that's actually going to be previewing this Friday. That's right. The Hose Before Halloween party is going on this Friday at the Cleveland Brew Room. Stop over there starting at 11 o'clock. This is a delicious red ale with Cleveland-style spices. It's medium-bodied with a salt malt backbone, and it's got plenty of kick, fellas. 7.5 ABV packed into this delicious, sweet holiday beer. Love it.
No, this
Thoughts,
is good.
Blake?
No, this is very good.
Mike, first drink. Give us your real-time reaction
Yeah, this is
here.
live reaction here.
That's some good stuff. It's good bitterness. It's setting off that alcohol really well.
I like it.
I'm waiting for him to start wafting it.
Yeah. Mike, you're on for this one this week. On a scale of Jay Gruden to John Gruden, where would you put this?
I'm gonna go John Gruden because he has a job.
Tell you what, man.
Oh,
He's having
here.
a good year, man. Let me tell you.
Needs to get that
Christmas
quarterback. play in
Christmas is going to be awkward. in that
Yeah,
house.
Chris, I
Going
tell
to
you, I
be
might
very
have
awkward in
AB.
that
We'll
house.
make some nightmares, man. Let me tell you what. But check out at Saucy Brewworks on Twitter. Stop by their brew room. Check this out on Friday. This is a delicious holiday beer. It's never too early to talk holiday beers, Blake.
No.
5 paychecks till Christmas. How does that make you feel?
Awful.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
All right.
I'm the guy that I don't like Christmas talk before Halloween.
I don't want it until after Thanksgiving.
I'll allow it in November, but until the end of
I'll allow
October.
Are you that Scrooge? I don't know. Thanksgiving's not even over, and they've got Christmas stuff up in the
humbug.
stores. You're that guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's find out who that guy, girl, or team is. And pretender, contender, fellas. Give me a transition, Michael. I like that. We kind of like time warped right into this
Yeah.
segment.
It's like when
That's all right.
It's like when Sonic jumps through the.
We're just picking up rings. Speaking of rings, Mike, let's figure out something if this
right.
team has a ring to it. Mike, contender pretender, the NFC North, the NFL's elite conference.
Ooh, I'm actually gonna say contender.
All right, let's
Yeah.
hear it.
The reason I say it is just look at their record right now.
Yeah.
right? They're not struggling too much. I'm talking. Wait, we got something. Oh, sorry. We had somebody was telling me we had no pictures up, but that was earlier.
Oh,
I was a little
thanks,
late on that.
Dad.
Yeah.
Your dad, technically.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them as contenders.
They're all above 500.
That's right.
Which is
So I
something
think-
no other conference can say at this point, right?
Exactly. And the reason I'm in on that is just this is when the NFL, like team fans, as a Cleveland fan right now, people are freaking out. There's so much season left. You don't win every game. You're not going to. It happened, once? Twice,
Yeah.
almost?
3 times a lady.
Well, and the other thing too, Cleveland fan, you're 3-2. You're not
2
No.
and 3.
or 2-3. I'm sorry, had it backwards.
Whoa,
But
don't
it's
get them
not-
all fired
But
up.
it's not. But it's not like years past where at this point you were like, well, season's over.
Right.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
yeah.
take it while you can get it.
Easy half of their schedule's coming up. But I'd say in the NFC North, it's just that these teams are still figuring themselves out. And I think being the only conference with ever been over 500 is indicative of that these guys are contenders. It's going to be a
All right.
battle down the stretch.
Yes, it is.
Would
Yep.
you say a handful of these teams are kind of like Jekyll and Hyde? Because you look at like the Packers, and there's one bad game in there. You
Yeah.
look at the Bears; they just had a bad game. You look at the Lions,
Oh, my.
bad game. I mean,
Yeah.
all these teams have had like one really bad game.
It's true.
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, I actually posted something on Twitter this week to like calm people down when their team gets destroyed. Each year, the Super Bowl winner has had a week where they have just gotten their ass handed to them.
Oh, yeah. If you
Yeah.
remember for
So-
New
oh, yeah.
England, it was the early trip to Miami
Yep.
in most years.
Yeah.
Or the early game with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just steadily realized, hey, we're New England.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, the Vikings, they're finding their way. Cousins, hopefully, will start throwing or doing well against teams above 500. I don't know about that. But you do have
I want to see
Aaron
him play somebody that's
Rodgers.
not the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
LaFleur and Rodgers are still figuring it out.
Yep.
So I think they're definitely contenders.
All
there.
right,
So
Michael,
that's
let's talk college football. Contender, pretender, the Big Ten, the nation's best conference?
I'm going to be predictable and go contender as well.
All right, let's hear it.
And the reason I say that is you have the best team in the country. You're the best conference.
Wow.
Ohio
so you're
State.
saying, okay.
And this is not a homer pick. I would have said that, like
Wow.
last year, I was a person who thought Ohio State should not have made the playoffs as a talent-wise. As I did not think they measured up to everyone else last year. This year, I think they do, and I think they're proving it on the field.
Yep.
Let me challenge that line of thinking, though.
Yeah.
Would you say the ACC was the best conference in the country last year because Clemson was the best team?
I think that's
The rest of that,
fair.
because the
But you
rest of
also-
that conference was bad.
Yeah, the rest of that conference was bad, but then you have Wisconsin. They're going to do what they're going to, no matter what, these are teams that are going to be 10-2, 11.
I'm not disagreeing
yeah.
that the Big Ten is, but I'm
Right.
just saying your logic though is that if you have the best team, you're the best conference.
Oh, for right here, yeah.
So top to bottom.
I think you can make an argument your way, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I think the Big Ten does have some quality teams here.
they do.
I think the SEC is the only other conference that has an
Oh,
argument.
Which
And
always is.
honestly, going into last week, I thought if Auburn beats Florida, I would have been a little more convinced. Florida surprised me, but
Yep.
I haven't seen Alabama really play anybody.
that's
I
fair.
want to see a little more. So those middle teams, I want to see the top player.
Yeah, so top to bottom and Big Ten, 5 teams in the top 20 right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So very interesting times. Michael, put me on the hot seat, brother. What you got?
NFL, we're gonna go there. We got Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes.
Is he the best backup quarterback? Pretender, contender.
Teddy Two Gloves contender. Absolutely.
Oh,
This guy's the 2014 Rookie of the Year. Remember that?
God,
Old
seems like
Teddy.
so long.
He made the Pro Bowl the next year. He's the highest paid backup, which should tell you something. 7.725 million, if I recall. He's the perfect fit for that offense, guys. That's what he's called. He's Drew Brees light, if you will, and he's showing that right now.
I like that Drew Brees light.
Yeah, you know, you wonder what would happen if he wouldn't have tore his ACL in 2016 because he was on a very
on a tear.
quick path to being a very viable starting quarterback. Whether that's in Minnesota or if he gets traded after his first contract, who knows? But absolute contender, Teddy freaking Two Gloves, baby,
Teddy Two Gloves.
my man.
Another great nickname. You're just on.
I can't claim that one.
All right, let's go over that. NCAA.
Yeah.
DJ. SMU is the best non-power conference or Power 5 team in the country right now.
Do you ever think you'd be talking Southern Methodist University tonight, Michael?
And we're not talking about the Pony Express.
We're not.
ESPN
Great 30 for 30, though. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Good reference.
Yeah.
That's a
Contender.
pretender. Boise State. Boise State. They're 4-0. They're 16th in the country right now. But they got to win out. So they're a team just like all the rest of these. They got to win out. They have to win their conference. And if they do, they're going to find themselves in a New Year's Six Bowl, I think. And I'd love to see that. We
So
remember.
New Year's 6. You don't think they
No.
make it in?
No. I mean, just like UCF.
Well, it's the same thing happened to them back in the late 2000s, where Boise State was probably one of the best 4 or 5 teams in the country, but they don't play anybody.
right.
I mean, that's the problem. Same thing UCF ran into last year.
Yeah.
They
Well,
had-
UCF played Pitt this year, if you recall, Blake. So
well,
they-
this year it's a different story.
Didn't
But
go
last year-
well, huh?
Last year it was that same
Yeah.
argument. You know, you have
Right.
these teams that look great,
Yep.
but against who?
Exactly. But I want to see you remember Chris Peterson, the finger guns,
Finger
Jared
guns.
Zambrowski, the pride of the Edmonton Eskimos several years ago, if I recall,
Yeah.
with the Statue of Liberty. So
Yes. That
We'll
was one of
see.
my favorite college football games.
oh,
I've
it's
ever watched.
ever.
Taking down the Sooners.
Remember, he goes right to the proposal, right to the
That's right.
proposal.
What was it? Ian. What was his last name? The running back. Ian.
Johnson?
Ian Johnson, I think.
Johnson. What movie
Johnson.
was that?
I'll
Anyways.
look it up in a little bit.
All right, Blake, you ready, my man? This one's
it.
kind of close to the vest here for you. Contender, pretender, Russell Wilson, NFL MVP.
Contender. I'm gonna go with the homer
okay.
pick.
Let's hear it.
So if you're going by the numbers, it's 100% contender. It's not even an argument.
Sure.
12-0 touchdown to interception ratio, best of his career through the first 5 games. 73.1 completion percentage, best of his career through 5 games. Over 9 yards an attempt, best of his career through the first 5 games. And 76.8 total QBR. Guess what? Best through the first 5 games of his career. So if you're going strictly off the numbers, I mean, it's a no-brainer at this point.
Sure.
Mahomes is, I don't want to say struggle, but the last 2 weeks hasn't looked like himself. You're not really hearing a lot of noise other than the status quo out of New England. So it's his to lose.
Yeah.
Which is a very possible scenario in the NFC
Sure,
West,
sure,
especially
sure.
as well as the Niners are playing and the Rams. I mean, the Rams played him right up to the wire for Zerline missing that field goal. I mean, they wouldn't have won that game.
Yeah,
so,
it'd be a whole different narrative
I think
on
so.
this season.
Arguably, they like that could be the best conference as well.
Yeah,
right
I
now,
think
anyway.
NFC North just because they play better. I think they're playing a little better defense, but
Yeah.
I think you're onto something with how good of a conference that is.
Yeah, and that's if you remember back in the 5-6 years ago when they were on their run, that conference was like that.
Yeah.
San Francisco was playing well. Arizona was good.
Mhm.
I mean, that's when the best gets brought out in Russell Wilson's when you put him up against something
Exactly.
like that.
I was going to say there's no other quarterback I can think of right now in the game when the deck's stacked against him that you don't want in that game.
Oh,
other
absolutely.
than Russell Wilson. He's
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, and if you're going by the eye test too, I think the answer's still yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look,
Especially if Sierra's with him. Let's be honest.
but I mean,
That was an upgrade.
but I challenge you. But I challenge you guys and playmakers. Tell me somebody that does every facet of the game as balanced as he does.
Yeah.
Running
completely
the ball,
fair.
running the ball, arm strength, accuracy, ability to extend plays, play action. I mean,
Right.
now don't get me wrong. I think he benefits and has benefited his whole career from a great running game. He went
Sure,
from Marshawn
sure,
Lynch
sure.
to Chris Carson. So, I mean, I just don't think anybody does it as balanced as he does.
Yep. Agreed.
So,
All right, let's speak about balance here, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
The Florida Gators, pretender, contender, Blake.
I'm going to say pretender.
Oh, okay. Explain.
I don't think this it's less of a knock on them as it's more of a praise for the other teams in the top 10. Bama, OSU, LSU, Clemson, among a handful
Yeah.
of others. They're just better. They're better on paper, pass the eye test. I mean, they're if this question was worded a little bit differently, I might have said contender.
Well,
but to
don't
me,
make fun of me.
well, but the question is, are they for real? Are they a contender for
Sure,
and what I
right,
would
right.
assume for the national championship? And I just don't think they are at this point. Now, if they could get back to the Gator ways of the late 2000s, which it very much seems like they're getting back to that style of football,
Yeah.
I could be singing a much different tune a year from now. But despite Kyle Trask playing well, anytime your starting QB goes down, even if the backup's great, which he was, there's only one example, and it was that Buckeyes team with Cardell Jones,
Right.
that you can think of a backup quarterback playing at an elite level like that.
Shane Falco. But he was a replacement, if we're being
Yeah.
technical. Wait, whoa. Willie Beeman. Come on now.
Okay.
Trask is expected to play against LSU.
Matt Saracen, too, by the way.
Wow. Great
For my
reference.
Friday Night Lights fans.
Great
out there.
reference. She's not even paying attention. Anyways,
Do you think the Gators got better when Trask went in?
they played differently.
It's definitely a
They,
different
they,
play.
they played
Yeah.
a little more balanced, I think,
Yeah.
I agree.
since he went in. I
I
mean,
think that's been an upgrade as well.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that a little bit.
yeah, I think he balances them out. It's less work on his legs than it was.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing is too, like they don't rank high in any of the pertinent categories. They're 19th in total offense, 36th in total defense. So, I mean, with numbers like that, you start playing the Bamas and Clemsons of the world, it would be ugly.
Right,
fair.
right.
So-
Fair. Okay.
I like that.
All right, guys, let's talk a little fantasy football. Let's transition and talk fantasy locks. And there's two of us. Look, I can pet myself. I like it. All right, guys, I'm going to start this week, and I want to talk about a running back in the AFC North, gentleman who's having himself a nice little run here. That's Mark Ingram.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Yes. They're playing the Bengals. All right, so there's factor one. The Bengals are giving up 30.7 points per game to running backs in
Remember,
standard
we're
leagues.
not allowed to pick people playing the Dolphins.
That's
But we
correct.
are allowed to pick people playing the Bengals.
When do we? I was going to say, when
do
do
we
we
cut
put the
that line up?
Bengals?
When do we
That's
put
what I wanna
them
know.
and the
category?
Redskins on
Yeah.
that?
Oh, right. Yeah. So anyway, so they're tied for first in TDs allowed too as well. And Ingram's averaging 82 yards per game. He's got 5 TDs, just under 14 carries per game. So Baltimore's second in carries per game. So if you think about it, if they're able to pound out the Bengals, which you can versus their line on either side of the ball,
Right.
he's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of attempts. So that's my guy. Blake, what about you, man? Who do you think?
So this is a guy that struggled through the first 3-4 weeks of the year, and he had a nice little bounce back week this past week. I'm going with Devontae Freeman.
Oh,
like
okay.
it.
I
Running
got a
back.
little story about him when we're done here.
Okay.
I kinda
Ru-
wanna
so,
hear this.
so running back for the Falcons. So like I said, bounce back week last week, 11 carries and a touchdown. He had 5 receptions for 40 yards, which I thought was telling. They're starting to get him more involved in the passing game, which I think they're going to need because they're going to be playing from behind quite a bit this year. But going into this game, the Cardinals are 6th against the run. They shouldn't really be playing from behind in this game. If they are, there's if they are, then Dan Quinn better start shining up his resume. But,
Well, yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't first.
yeah.
It's
So
debatable.
but they've been playing from behind all year so far, and that really hasn't allowed for him to go off or to really have any quality touches. And he's been splitting carries with Ito Smith. But I think anything the last 2 weeks have told us, they're trying to get him more involved in the passing game and on third down. He's at 8 catches and 5 catches respectively. So, so I think they're going to try to get him more in tune with kind of that out of the backfield in space kind of game, which was always kind of his strength anyways.
Sure.
So
they made their run. That's how they used him.
right.
Why not go back to it?
So, so for him this week against the Cardinals, I think he's gonna have a big week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to bring up a story. So
let's hear
our
this.
intrepid commissioner and CEO of Big Play came under fire this week. He made a few trade offers involving Mr. Freeman, one of which came to me. He wanted Julio Jones for Devontae Freeman. If that was not bad enough, he also tried to trade him for Travis Kelce this week. So,
I don't
my
think I
man,
would do it
enjoy
for
Hilton
either of
Head.
those guys.
Enjoy having your trades rejected. Still love you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right, are you ready for mine?
let's hear it.
So I want to get a guy a little more on the fringe. You know, that wide
Fringe
receiver
bench!
2 or
I miss
you know
fringe
I love
bench.
the fringe
Oh,
bench. We'll bring
I
it back
do
at
too.
some point.
Okay.
When we get
Not NFL season is what you're saying.
generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So February. See you in February,
Yeah,
Fringe
see you in
bench.
February with the fringe binge. Is actually Michael Gallup. So he
Yeah,
just returned this
okay.
last week. He has not had less than 7 targets. And that was the week he got injured, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So every week he had, 20 the first week, 12, and then he got injured, hurt his knee. And then last week he was back. He had over 20 again in PPR leagues. I expect him to keep it going against the Jets. It's a decent matchup. And I think I said last week when we were talking about the Cowboys, they needed somebody else to make a play.
Yeah.
They still need somebody else to make a play when they're putting all their attention to Cooper and him. So I think he is the guy who's going to blow up this week.
And he was the
Especially
guy
if you're
last
looking-
week.
Yeah.
When they got behind and Dak started chucking the ball, Michael Gallup was the guy he looked
yeah.
for. So
Yeah.
good pick. Guys, I have a running back problem I want to talk through with you, okay?
Yeah,
Let's
bring
hear
it
it.
up.
So I've got Austin Eckler, okay, who was obviously my running back. He was a starter for me and remains just out of necessity.
Okay.
Last week he had 3 carries, but he did catch 50. He caught a lot of balls. He had 86 yards, right? So
Okay.
he's still very viable there. What do I do?
I think you keep him.
I think a lot of people are having the same problem
So
right now.
I have him in multiple leagues, and this is like what I've been just stressing about. So he did have 6 receptions last week.
Yep.
I think you keep him. And the reason I say that is I don't know why the Chargers wouldn't trade Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And no matter what, game flow. So if they get a big lead, the Chargers, if they are going to keep Melvin Gordon, they want to keep him healthy, they're going to pound Eckler instead. Or if they get behind, they're going to throw the ball, and that's Eckler's game. So I think he has standalone value at this point.
Sure.
Even if Gordon sticks around for the entire year, but I'm just praying that he gets traded, honestly.
Okay.
do you see a scenario in which they just let him walk at the end of the year? Because he's back, he's playing, so that takes all the risk out of it at this point for them.
Sure.
I mean, other than the obvious losing a top 5 running back talent.
In
but-
my opinion, they'd be dumb not to trade him
I agree.
to a team that is not going to be a playoff contender,
Not
not
in
going to
the
be a
AFC.
compete that exactly, and not get it. I mean, minimally if you get a 6th or 7th round pick for that, and then that team has a shot to sign him in the offseason or something,
And then you re-sign Eckler, is what you're
then
saying.
you re-sign Eckler. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Wow.
they're both up after this year. If memory
Yeah.
serves me correct,
Yeah.
we'll have to fact check.
And
it, but-
Josh Jackson was a pretty viable backup too for
Yeah.
Eckler during
Oh,
that
and,
time.
and
when he
even
was
the
out.
other guys looked all right too. Was it Newsom, I think?
Yeah.
He's looked decent when he's had the ball. So I don't think they have a big running back problem without Gordon.
I do,
But to your-
they don't.
Well, that was going to be my first question: is if you had him handcuffed, like, do you have Gordon and Eckler or just Eckler?
Just Eckler.
So
Yeah.
I didn't.
Dave
think-
tried to trade me Gordon, by the way, and I can't think of who
Who
it
do you
was.
want?
It was a
Are you-
crazy
was
offer.
Was he threatening you like for the scene
Oh,
from,
no.
like
I-
that
you know,
like that
I-
scene from Billy Madison? Like, if you don't trade me, I could just beat you up and take it.
right. I thought I was your snack pack.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on, guys. Let's go to something tasty. Let's go to Hell No Hell. Yeah.
I love that you just held that for me.
Yeah. Our buddy JSEJMM6 brings up Aaron Jones, who saved my butt this week and apparently saved yours too, Mike, in a league, right?
In one league, yeah, my family league saved my butt, but then I actually was playing against him. Luckily, the guy that I played also probably had about 20 points outside of Aaron
Oh,
Jones. I
snap.
beat him by like almost 100 some points.
Beautiful.
I'm really
I just don't trust Green Bay running backs.
I think right now the actual the other guys not being fully healthy is why you can trust it.
Not
now.
since Amon Green.
Come on.
Oh wow, that's
Great
going back.
reference.
Yeah.
Wow.
Name one Green Bay running back you've trusted since him.
Eddie Lacy, his rookie year. That's it.
Wow. That's fair.
But that's it. Like honestly, if that's one guy, I agree with you. With Aaron Rodgers, you can't really do it.
Yeah. All right. All right, Michael, are you ready, my friend? During Sunday's OT loss versus the Ravens, Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph was knocked unconscious. This was ugly, guys. It was a vicious hit from Earl Thomas. Officially is diagnosed with concussion. He's in the protocol. He's at home, resting, kind of recovering. Mike, we've seen some pretty brutal helmet-to-helmet hits this season already. Do you think, hell no, hell yeah, are we going to see more rule changes this offseason to protect quarterbacks?
Hell no.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
The reason I say that is that was just honestly, it was two hits that weren't egregious,
No.
but they hit at the same time, and his brain shook in his head. Like that is the risk of playing the game. I don't think either. Like this wasn't Vontaze Burfict, who actually we just heard before we were coming on, right?
That they upheld
They're
that
upheld that suspension.
Yep, rightfully
It was
so.
not like that where these guys are just like out to like light him up, or like the old James Harrison on Colt McCoy. It's not a hit like that.
No, that's true.
It wasn't a hit
You
like
don't
that.
think that hit was bad?
Oh, I think it was a bad hit, but
It
I
was-
don't think it was like
yeah.
it didn't look like there was egregious. I think the problem was that like his head started to go back, and then it got hit from the backside of it, and it
Yeah.
was
And it come forward.
I
think it was more or less the timing of both.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think it was like something where a guy drove him to
Like
the ground
egregious,
and
yeah.
smashed him. Yeah, you can't even. I can't say it because it ended by the other hit.
You know, we talked last week about the Vontaze Burfict thing, and you remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you saying, "What's going to happen? Is someone going to not walk off the field?" And I thought that was the one instance where someone was dead.
That was the first thing that came out of my mouth. When the wife and I were sitting there watching the game, I said, "He's dead."
Yeah,
He
I
didn't
literally-
move. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, he literally just
in the close up
blocked
from the front angle. I mean, his eyes rolled back in his head, and he
Yeah.
just went limp and just fell. And then he hit his head again on the way down. So it was like, I honestly almost said walk out of the room because I thought we watched a guy pass away right then and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God it didn't go that way, but I mean,
absolutely.
it was ugly.
Yeah, it was the first time in my life watching sports with my kids where I took them out of the room.
Right.
I'll be honest. I said, because they were showing replays, and I'm like, guys, you can't see this. Let's just go out.
Well,
you know what I mean?
you don't
took
want
me
that.
right back to, if you remember, and this is going way back, that Kevin Ware injury.
Oh God, yeah.
Like watching something that horrific live, and I remember watching that game, and then the guy's leg bones sticking out of his leg.
yeah,
I mean, it looked like a Halloween prop.
yeah.
I mean, not to
Yeah.
you know make light of it, but I mean, you just see something that's jarring. I mean,
Yeah, and the ominous fact that Ryan Shazier walked out to comfort him
That was awesome.
kind of got to me,
Yeah.
to be honest.
yeah,
And then the cart, of course, doesn't work to cart him off.
Yeah,
which was
That
odd.
was so.
It looked like the
I
battery
think
was dead.
I
or
think that's
something.
being way underplayed. Like,
Yeah.
you're in an NFL stadium.
Mhm.
You know, there's high schools around us here that have those carts,
Yeah.
and they've
You're
never run into
required
that issue.
to, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're an NFL organization, and your cart stalls middle of the field. Like, I get things happen, but like
Right.
that's one of those things I feel like it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I don't-
Why not bring a stretcher or something out as well?
Or a
Is the other
gurney,
thing I thought.
something,
Yeah,
yeah,
gurney,
something you can
exactly.
just give them a
to
ride
carry 'em.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Anyways.
that kind of threw me as well. Yeah.
Speaking of unacceptable, let's talk Jake Gruden here, guys. Blake, early last week, the ex-Redskins head coach dubbed journeyman quarterback Colt McCoy, you all remember him, who'd been inactive the whole season, the starting quarterback.
Yep.
And what happened? They got dominated 33-7. McCoy had 119 yards and an interception. He was sacked 6 times. That was ugly. Tuesday, Gruden was fired. Apparently his key card didn't work. Blake, hell no, hell yeah. Are the Skins the most chaotic team in the NFL?
Give me a hell yeah.
We don't play that one enough. I like
know.
that. I like that.
It's coming back.
It's
Just,
a nice.
yeah.
yeah. That's Jay. You know that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, it's actually Randy
Yeah,
Macho Man.
Can't be.
That's true. Yeah.
It has to
Yeah.
be Jay.
Anyways.
But no, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, this team is. You have allegedly, ownership undermining a coach. You have an all-pro left tackle that's holding out, creating no value.
Yeah.
You have 4 quarterbacks that you could literally pull a name out of a hat every week and start one, none of which are good, at least right now in Dwayne Haskins' case. I mean, it just seems like they don't know that they stink. It almost feels that way. Like they still think like they have a shot to win games.
Yeah.
Like at least Miami knows they stink.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have a plan.
Like,
the plan's to tank and get draft picks.
Yeah, I mean
and
that
build from the draft.
At this point, it's like just trade Trent Williams
Trent Williams,
Trade Trent Williams. Trade any asset you have. Kerrigan, get rid of him.
Nancy.
Let these guys go. Try to win somewhere else, and just start from scratch.
Since Bruce Allen has taken over as Washington GM, I found this just alarming, guys. The Redskins have won 39% of their games. 39%. During that period, the rest of their conference is above 500. Proof is in the pudding.
How long has he been GM there?
It's been since, 2009, I believe? 2010.
So 10 years,
Yeah.
and the rest of it.
Pretty bad. The big rumor this week, and my boy Stephen A. Smith was a big part of this rumor there, Blake. Mike Tomlin to the Redskins. Did you hear this theory?
Yeah, something about they were going to trade for him. I heard something about
Trent
a trade.
Williams.
I mean, we did just talk about John Gruden earlier, so. But you're already dealing with bad coaching. You're already dealing with a questionable locker room situation with Williams. Why are you going to bring in a guy that has a recent history of both of those things?
That's true.
I mean, why? I mean, at that point, you might as well throw the gas can on top of the bonfire. I mean, that again, Tomlin, and I've said it before on this program, that he's a fraud. Take the second most winningest or whatever the stat was that you
second
gave me.
most.
Yeah.
Yep.
The guy has been a product of having a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback and a good defense up until the last couple of years. And look what's happened. They've done squat. So
Fair.
So why bring in a guy with questionable background to your already questionably bad team? It just doesn't make any sense.
Do you think Tomlin is part of the reason why AB is gone so far into the deep end?
I have my own AB. I have my own AB theory.
I think
Do we wanna
Vontez
dive into
Burfict
that,
has
or-
a lot to do
I
with
agree.
that.
And it's CTE related.
Yes, I agree.
It's
I
either
agree.
that
I
or-
could go into that for an hour, but as far as how he controlled the situation, I think he kept AB in check for a while, and it didn't. I think he was that crazy, but they kept it kind of under wraps.
Yeah.
Because I honestly,
And then eventually just got to a fever pitch.
They
and
did a pretty good
They
job.
couldn't.
Pittsburgh did a pretty good job
All
in
things
retrospect.
all things
They
considered.
did.
considering what the Raiders and the Patriots
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Most things worst thing you had was you filming Tomlin in the locker room and
Yeah,
fighting with
right.
Roethlisberger. That seems
Yeah.
pretty tame compared to the other stuff.
Oh, it does. It
So
does.
to answer your question, I think he helped corral him,
Okay.
not contain him. If that makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
no, it really does.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got, brother?
What do I have?
Well, yeah, a question. perhaps.
Anxiety. I'm running the show
I'm stressed out.
tonight.
I'm like worried
Too
about
sure.
Stress.
Look at it. He looks
next
like an
season.
Old Navy ad right
I
now.
would be
doesn't he?
afraid
So
to see that. I
handsome.
would be afraid to
Old
see that
Navy?
grade.
Wow.
I'm insulted.
Oh, excuse me.
Classier than
What,
that.
Express? What do you...
It's like the insurance commercials where you turn into your parents.
That's
what it looks like.
If I had socks with sandals on right now, I think I'd be
First
the
it was the
star of
mustache, then it was the sweater with the long sleeve shirt.
Now, Jay, how old are your kids? What are the names? Anyways.
You look
Oh
like
my-
you
I'll
look
give
like
you
Mr.
some opinions
Rogers.
on grilling some burgers.
Shit. I don't know, son.
Do you have a pair of those Nike Air Maxes too that you're gonna wear around the yard?
Orthotics.
wait, you
He's
mean
got
that- yeah.
orthotics. Skechers.
I feel like we need to do like a skit with me just dressed up in like ridiculous outfit and just go around acting like I.
Well, we
We're
could
kinda
do it right
living
now.
it right
I was gonna
now.
say we could do it tonight.
That's true. We do.
It's a sports show, and you're dressed like we're going mall hopping right now.
Wow.
I love you, though. Anyways,
He's
go
going
ahead.
to buy a car with a perfect credit rating over there.
Yes. Do I look qualified? Thank you, honey. Anyways.
I'll pay half
right,
cash.
Jay,
Thank you.
All right, Jay. With Auburn's loss to Florida last Saturday, they now find themselves 4-1 alongside other college football teams like Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan, Oregon. Hell no, hell yeah. Auburn is the best 4-1 team in the country.
I'm going to say hell no.
Ooh, wow. That actually surprised me. I'm on the wrong
That
screen.
surprised you so much. We're going to stall just a minute.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
That's got to be Texas, by God. Hook 'em horns, number 11 in the country. Their only loss was the LSU on a mutual field.
Yeah.
Neutral field, not mutual. They didn't both co-own it.
Close game, too.
Yeah, 48-37, 38. Excuse me, 45-38. But they're 19th in the nation in offense. Sam Ellinger's putting up some great points there. 42 points per game. Typical of their conference, not exactly typical of Texas, we found in the past. So I like that. Ellinger's 23% in completions, 23rd, excuse me, almost hitting 70% of his passes.
Would be a whole different
That
world.
would be awful. Yeah, that's Peterman bad there.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's Texas, and Notre Dame's not far behind. You can say what you want, you either love them or hate them. Since losing to Georgia, they've been pretty impressive. They beat a good Virginia team. They blew out BG. BG's always tough. Come on, Blake.
The MAC.
The only fraud bigger than Mike Tomlin is the Notre Dame
Get
football
outta
program.
Here. I'm sure that's. Remember, God's listening, Blake. Just saying.
That's okay.
Anyways,
Truth hurts. He wants me to be truthful. I mean, come on.
that's fair. That is fair.
Thou shalt not overrate programs.
Wow, good one. You know what? We shan't overrate because it's so highly rated. We don't need to overrate it. And let's find out what's on deck, Michael.
All right. I just want to point something out.
What's that?
Perfect scene.
Wow, look at that. Look at
Just
Beavis
like
and
the
Butthead
fifth
up
one.
there. Yeah.
No glitches, nothing on this one.
Good job.
I'm proud of myself.
You did a
right
great job, guy.
now. 1 out of 6. I think
was-
that's blatantly failing, but still.
If you put in a performance like that, you can dress however you want, guy.
You
I'm
could
just
still
saying.
play quarterback for the Redskins with that kind of passing rating.
He's got the teal. He's got the colors on
Honestly,
right now.
I want to
right?
say something about like Gardner Minshew, but he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Like, I can't
don't
bring him to
disrespect
my
Minshew.
level. Yeah, exactly.
So handsome. Guys, it is week 7 of NCAA football. I'm calling this the rivalry adjacent weekend. It's not what you'd call the typical rivalry weekend. It's not Buckeyes versus Michigan. It's not Army Navy, but there's some nice rivalry games in here. And we'll start off with a great one, and that is the Red River Showdown. Oklahoma's number 6, Texas number 11. This is at noon on Fox at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. You know it. The line has moved a lot this week, guys. So Oklahoma's at minus 11.5 right now. Earlier in the week, this was 10. So Vegas knows something. This is interesting. Over under 75.5 on this one. Oklahoma was in a classic letdown spot last week, and they even trailed 7-0 before blowing out Kansas 45-20. Jalen Hurts has been brilliant so far through 5 games. They're scoring 45 points at least in each game. They're only giving up 20 in the last 4 games, which doesn't sound like much. It's kind of a nicest guy in prison stat, if you will. But remember, this is the Big 12, guys. By comparison, Wisconsin's giving up 5.8. But the best team in that conference is Baylor, only giving up 15.4, so not too bad. Texas survived a matchup at Morgantown versus WVU, a gritty team, 42-31. They're 4-1, and again, their only blemish was that tight loss to LSU. Mike, how does Oklahoma win the Red River Showdown?
I think it's going to be a showdown. So I think the key here is what Jalen Hurts has done so far. Be efficient, so 75% completion percentage and only 2 interceptions. They need possessions because they're both going to score points.
Right.
I think that's where it's going to come down to. It might actually be who has the ball last. Yeah. We hear that every now and then, but I think in this game, it's very, very true. Texas is legit. I think you were right saying that they're probably the best 4-1 team because Ellinger is showing he is a pro prospect.
Yes, very much so.
And they can put up points. So I think the key for them is going to be Jalen Hurts being efficient and not throwing the interceptions.
Is there not a better classic commentator comment than this one might come down to whoever has the ball last?
Yeah.
Right? That's they love that one.
They really
It's
do.
classic.
But I feel like when they're in the game saying that, it's just like when the Rams and the Chiefs had that game last year. on
Yeah,
Monday Night Football.
it's true.
Well, obviously, right?
Right,
But
right.
I think this one sets it up very well.
Yeah. All right, on the other side of things, Blake, how did the Texas Longhorns win this one?
Well, to piggyback off what Mike just said, I mean, it's exactly that. It's going to be a shootout, and if Texas wants to win this game, they're going to have to jump out early. Is the first key I had here was basically get out to an early lead, play efficient football, control the clock. You need Oklahoma to start pressing early.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's always kind of been a Jalen Hurts faux pas, if you will, is when he starts pressing, he doesn't get bad, but he gets sloppy.
Yeah.
And, when you start to press, Texas's front seven is, some of the best in the country. They get behind the line of scrimmage very well. So if they can get to the quarterback, make them press from behind, it gives them that ability to kind of pin their ears back and go after him, create some havoc back there for Jalen Hurts, get him uncomfortable. You just said it. Oklahoma's been scoring, what'd you say, 45 points a game or more?
45 points.
So you got to get him out of his rhythm. So if they want any chance of winning this, I still think Oklahoma wins, but I think it's a shootout, and I think it's a close game.
All right, guys. I agree. I think Oklahoma does win in a shootout, and I think it's a close one, too.
Would you guys take the over or the under? I don't even want to try.
You said it was 75?
75 and a half.
75 and a half. I mean, if these teams are scoring more than, granted, they're against some very bad teams.
And it is the Big 12.
42-35 is like the over right there. Like, do you see that happening?
I'd probably go towards the under, honestly.
I'm leaning towards the under, and I think I'd be
I'm not
confident in
comfortable
the
with that figure at all.
Taking the over.
taking the over?
Well, someone had
Really? I like it.
And I'm not just playing devil's advocate, but I think with those two quarterbacks, it's who makes the first mistake.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
Lincoln Riley, like
Yeah.
2 Heismans in a row. Like that guy has a system that works. So I can see why you're saying it. Yeah.
All right. Another great game, guys. Down in the south town of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we got Florida, the Gators, visiting LSU. This one is the primetime game, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Joe Burrow, this is a record-setting offense, guys. This is fun to watch. They're averaging 54.6 points per game. Burrow's the first quarterback in LSU history to throw for 300-plus yards in 4 consecutive games. 22 TDs so far, which is only tied by Matt Malk and the incomparable Jamarcus Russell. Of course, he can't sip as much scissor as Jamarcus, though. Let's be honest, right? Florida's 6-0.
Oh, wow.
Remember, he got caught sipping that scissor.
Yes.
It's true. It's not false.
I just forgot how old that is. Like, that's a reference, like, for you to pull that back out.
Sip. Oh, yeah, dude. That had to be on
Who
a
did that
mixtape
song
back in the day.
3-6 Mafia.
3-6,
Thank
was
you.
it? Okay, good reference. Florida's 6-0, and there's no more team in the country that's discredited and pushed to the side that's undefeated than the Florida Gators, and they won a big one last week.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense forced 4 turnovers and had 3 sacks versus Auburn. They are legit. Blake, how do the Florida Gators win this one, my man?
I just lost my spot here. Whoops.
Go up there.
Now, be efficient. I mean, that's the one thing with these guys. You don't have your starting quarterback out there. You have somebody that's kind of, I don't want to say playing it as he goes, but, he's basically got to get no comfort zone. If they allow him to get uncomfortable, it's going to be bad.
Sure.
Especially playing in Death Valley. And I don't know if you saw the article this week. I forget what outlet put it out about. They were putting loudspeakers 10 feet behind the line of scrimmage at Florida's practice hall this week.
Just to get used to it.
Just to get used to the noise level and everything.
Yeah.
So I think if they can limit the mistakes made just based off communication and things like that, they can keep it close. I still think LSU wins. I don't want to say handedly, but by a comfortable margin.
Yeah.
Florida's big thing is trying to get over there and I'm trying to find the words to say it. Basically, find a niche or find a way to kind of break up that efficiency of LSU's offense.
Sure.
So
steal a possession or something.
Yeah, steal a possession. Come up with a blitz package that they haven't seen or haven't shown yet. Just do something different to where you make Burrows uncomfortable, and you kind of the flip side of things. Make him uncomfortable, get him out of the pocket. So if you let him sit back there, he's just going to pick you apart all night.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ball, LSU's got to be LSU. That's all there is to it at home. They've got to make Kyle Trask look like the young replacement quarterback that he is. Remember last week he had 3 straight fumbles, the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And Trask banged up his knee a little bit last week, so that's a little concerning. Florida's got this highly ranked defense. They're 5th, but, they gave up 21 points to Kentucky. It's kind of concerning.
Yeah.
You got LSU.
Usually Florida can outclass Kentucky enough with their athletes.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's LSU by like 10 points.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable. Not just running away with it, but,
10
easy
points,
one.
ball at the end sort of deal.
Not being in the swamp is a huge deal going into Tiger Stadium. I think that's a major game changer. So I think you're
What
right.
song do you think they're blaring on those speakers, by the way?
Was it crowd noise or is it like welcome
It said
to the
music.
jungle?
No, it said music. So I don't know what they were.
Oh,
it-
Welcome to the Jungle,
That's
like
what I
that
think.
program.
Or it's just
Remember that
screaming at the
montage?
start of it?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
they just loop that part.
Love it. I could go into that one, but we won't. Other games of note during Saturday: South
some
Carolina
solid games,
at
right?
Georgia at noon. We've got Alabama at Texas A&M at 3:30. Michigan State at Wisconsin at 3:32. USC at Notre Dame at 7:30, and Penn State at Iowa at 7:32 as well. Some nice little rivalry games.
Oh yeah.
Then we go to the NFL, guys. It's kind of an kind of a weekend. You know me, I'm a yard work guy, Mike. I might
it's
be
pretty
heading it.
clear you like college. Do you like college more than
Yeah.
NFL?
So we had the neighborhood kids. We have like 2 neighborhood kids that come around. They're like, we'll rake your leaves for $10. They came over last night. There were like maybe 40 leaves in the yard. And I'm like, come back Saturday. They said, nah, we've got a Fortnite tournament, so we can't.
A Fortnite.
How millennial?
tournament.
Actually,
How millennial is
can
that?
you find out where that is? I'm in.
That's fair. You got to rake my lawn first. Anyways, some of the marquee games, we've got the Houston Texans visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a Sunday game at 1 o'clock at Arrowhead and Kansas City, of course. KC's at -5.5. KC showed their human last week, guys, and they are limping into this game, literally, if you think about it. Mahomes banged up his ankle. He's kind of hopping around. They had 3 defensive players, including some key defensive linemen, go out of the game. And they lost 19-13 to the Colts. The narrative this week is, did the Colts create a template to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Well, if you have that many people out, that's not a hard template to copy, if you will. Houston won a shootout versus the Falcons, 53-32, laid 53 on them. Watson had 5 touchdown passes, 426 yards. He only had 5 incompletions, guys. This was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens. You protect the quarterback.
Yeah, I've heard
Weird,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does Houston win this one? Mike, give me a prediction.
So I don't think they're actually going to follow the same recipe as the Colts. I mean, how many times have you seen a high-powered offense? What do teams that are a little overwhelmed with them? What they do? They try to slow the game down,
Right.
like shorten the game by running the ball a lot. I don't think it's going to happen. I think what you said about 5 incompletions last week, it's going to be that. I think this is going to be another shootout if Mahomes can move.
Yeah.
If not, I think they're going to be coming after him. You got J.J. Watt. I think this is another game where last week they got so beat up that it might be a stumble and fall for the Chiefs. Would I panic? No, I would not panic.
No.
But I do think that Houston's going to have to get after the quarterback, number one. If he's hurting, get to him quick. Bring it. Make him throw it hot or try to run. He's not going to be able to do it. And then I think Will Fuller, I don't think he's going to have another game like he had last week, but he's going to get his targets. He's going to be a key for the Texans and Deshaun Watson being efficient.
Yeah. On the other side of things, the Chiefs have to be tough. Not exactly something they're known for, right? So Xavier Williams was put on the IR this week. That's not good. Anthony Hitchens did participate in practice, so he's only questionable. Chris Jones is doubtful. Sammy Watkins, they don't know. He didn't practice today. We're seeing what's going to happen. But it's a team with an embarrassment of riches offensively, and they just have to spread the ball out. They have to be creative, which if there's one team that can do that in this league, that is them. So I think the Chiefs find a way to win it. Kind of a tighter one. Probably don't score as many points as they typically do, but they'll find a way to pull it out. We got the Eagles visiting the Falcons. This is a Sunday game, also 1 o'clock at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Eagles are 3-2. They're first in the NFC East. They've won 2 straight. Last week they dominated the Jets. Not exactly a tall task here. The defense had an interception score. Orlando Scandrick had that strip sack and ran that one back. That was fine. And then Brandon Graham, this was really cool. He had 3 sacks while his wife was in the hospital. So, my man, taking care of his lady. Take that, Blake. Come on. Where are you at? Anyways, the Vikings are 3-2 as well. They're second in the NFC North. If they're anything, it's consistent, guys. Here's their record so far. Win, loss, win, loss, win. So, they should lose this week if we're looking at that. But anyways, they have the 3rd best running game in all of football, 166 yards. Dalvin Cook's been amazing, 542 yards. If you have him in fantasy, you're buying the beers. How do the Eagles win this one, Michael?
How did the Eagles win this one? They go back to the recipe of the Super Bowl. Red zone efficiency and controlling the ball. If you can keep Carson Wentz off his back, they're starting to get healthy again. I think that's the key for them is actually controlling the ball because that's what the Vikings want to do. You saw that through the first few weeks. Yes, they had they did some stuff to make Thielen and Diggs happy, but that was against the Giants. I think this Eagles team's a lot better than that Giants team. So I think what's going to happen here is that the Vikings are going to try to go back to their bread and butter this year. So I think the Eagles have to control the ball.
Very cool. On the other side of that, Blake, how did the Vikings win?
Well, I think Kirk Cousins needs to play well again, but I need to see him play well against a team that's not the New York Giants.
That's
true.
true.
That's
New York Football Giants.
Yeah, so I need to see him play well against a quality team. The games that he's played against quality teams this year, he's looked terrible. So
Yeah.
But to set that up, I think you keep feeding Dalvin Cook. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Keep feeding him. The guy's a monster. Now that he's healthy, that's the big key to that. He hasn't been healthy his first couple years in the league. Now that he's healthy, if you look at the stats, he's actually the best back in the league right now.
Yeah.
So keep feeding him. The other thing is they have to, on defense, get to Carson Wentz. They're actually tied for second in the league right now with 31 tackles for loss. So whether that's getting to Wentz or, getting back there and getting Jordan Howard and Sanders down to the ground, whatever they can do to disrupt things back there for Philly and create some inefficiencies, like Mike just said. They got to be efficient. They got to have red zone efficiency.
Yep.
If they can get back there, especially on third down,
Get
going
him
to
off
be the
field,
difference.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
going to be the
turnover.
difference in the game.
Very good, gentlemen. All right, some other fun games. We've got Seattle visiting Cleveland, 1 o'clocker, and the New Orleans Saints at Jacksonville at 1 o'clock. So it's kind of it's an okay Sunday.
I think that Seattle-Cleveland game is
Yeah.
going to be good.
I
I don't
might-
think Cleveland's
I'm
going to
looking
lay an
forward to
egg
that
like they
one.
did.
I mean, I'm still going to watch. That's the thing. We can sit here and say, it's kind of a crappy weekend. Not like we're not going to watch.
No.
What else are
I'm
you
going
going
to
to
watch
watch?
every game, yeah.
I'm just going to
Hopefully
watch
gonna be at
home
that
remodel shows
Are
all
you trying
day.
to go?
Hopefully, Seattle-Cleveland game. So
Nice.
if anybody has
The way
tickets,
those,
out
I was
there.
going to say, the way those Browns just got whooped, I think you'll see a few bandwagoners jump off.
Yeah.
You think
They'll have something come
They-
up, and they'll
they
just,
look bad, but Browns fans don't hit the panic button quite yet.
No, come on.
We're way from that point.
If you haven't hit the panic button before this year,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, if there's
I think
anything,
you're
if there's anything you've been, it's conditioned
right
for the last 20 years. So
Yeah.
don't stop now.
Yeah, this is like the week before Christmas. You can
Yeah.
wait 7 days
Yeah,
to be okay.
you'll be all right.
Come on
wait
now.
a little bit longer.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You know, guys, speaking of wait, I can't wait till next week. We're going to have a fun little preview of War Chest by Saucy Brewworks. This is a 4-can piner, guys. It's going to be a tough little bite. I
Chest?
love it, yeah.
I think we should go with that theme next week. Should we
Is that
try
your
to do
favorite
that?
Kentucky Derby horse, by the way? War Chest.
Are you gonna dress up like a Viking?
I mean, if you guys want me to, I don't know if I have stuff. Oh, I actually might have something that's sort of Viking-ish.
Okay.
Viking.
Wow, I don't know.
Viking.
It's at least Scandinavian. Let's be honest.
That was a
Come on.
mixture of ish and s.
It's been on a boat once.
Anyways, we'll of course go contender pretender on deck. Hell no, hell yeah, and we'll give you your fantasy locks. The big play lineup of shows. We got a great lineup for you guys every week. On Monday, Blitz Football is at 8 o'clock, and the Big Play Cleveland show at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Tuesday, Birdland BS, talking all things Baltimore sports and the Maryland Terps. Wednesday, of course, we are the Big Play Podcast here at 8:30 every Wednesday evening. Thursday, Big Play Gaming at 8 to 10 with our man Mike McFadden. Follow our partner, Saucy Brewworks, on Twitter at Saucy Brewworks. Their Instagram name is the same on Facebook. Find them at Saucy Brewworks, CLE. Follow Big Play at BigPlay_com for all of our great articles, and all the shows go off there too. At the Big Play Podcast, that's all of us. Gentleman to my right, at Big Play Beats, is Mike. Of course, find him at Big Play Blake here on my left.
There we go.
I am Big Play Jay for
Big Play
Blake,
_Blake.
myself for Mike. Thank you for tuning in this week. This has been the Big Play Podcast. We'll see ya. We'll see ya.
We're getting there. You gotta give me a minute.